Om Shanti Shambho Mahadev Mahadev Mahadev. So in our last session, we explained about the gradual withdrawal towards the prana, towards the Brahman, towards the Antaratma, gradually, step by step, as it has come, as the Srishti has been created. It is the same way the Srishti has been created. In the same manner, it is withdrawing. Here the purpose of explanation of that withdrawal or death, liberation, they are all identical, we said. Here the purpose of explanation of the death is concerned, as we said, it ultimately goes to the Tapa, the Agni Tattva, and from the Agni Tattva to the Parabrahman. From the external Panchendriyas, Panchatattva, Trivatkaranam, everything is again going back as it has come in, and it is going back, and gradually it is withdrawn. That is what we said. The purpose of explanation of this is that, and I just remind you, withdrawal is the absorption of the senses into the mind, and the mind into the prana, prana into the tattvas, Agni Tattva, then ultimately the Agni, Agni to the Tapa, Tapa to the, like that. The purpose of explanation is that it is the withdrawal is for explaining by sage Uddhalaka to Shvetaketu. He said that about the conscious withdrawal and unconscious withdrawal. That's called the Jnani, how he withdraws to the Atman, and the Jnani, how he goes to the death. That's what he wanted to explain. Say it's on this pretext or in this circumstance that sage has explained how the physical body gets destroyed, or the mind and memories get destroyed into the prana and into the Atman. The difference between the person who consciously be withdrawn and the unconsciously withdrawn is that it's a unconscious withdrawal is a compulsive pushing back. It is some sort of automatic withdrawal. One is an automatic withdrawal. Another is a transcendence. The one who is not aware of the exercise that is being executed is an automatic withdrawal. One who is born, he dies. It's an automatic. He doesn't have any choice on that, you see. Because, and after the withdrawal is concerned, after the withdrawal, and he again comes back and again goes back. Repetitive execution of, conscious execution of karmas is taking place. When you distinctly go into the level of both, or into the details of both, or the difference of both, the one who withdraws, that means unconsciously going back, he, without any intention, the system as it has been created by the Prakriti, it is being withdrawn into the shells according to that. It is like a wave has come from the sea. Without any effort of the wave, it goes back. Creation is also like that, and withdrawal is also like that. Whereas the one who has got a transcendence, in that case what happens? The one who withdraws automatically, his every action or every karma is consciously done. What does it mean? That means he is executing a karma as a karma. He thinks it's a karma yoga and it has to be like that. Consciously executing a karma in the sense he executes a karma in the name of karma. Physically. Like somebody who organizes a puja in the house. Yajna being done. When the yajna being done, all the materials assimilated for the yajna, the fire is set, yajna being done, swaha being done, yajamana is also done. He is satisfied. He says, I have consumed so many kilos of ghee, so many kilos of milk, so much of flour, so much of this, so much of this. He is happy with that. He is consciously executing a karma. Now, the one who is a jnani, who is willing a transcendence, what he does? In the process of execution of karma, execution of the yajna, he, every time when these dravyas are being offered in the Agni, he offers himself in the Agni. Transcendence, you see. One who is materialistically identifying, understanding, sincerely executing the karma. But what is that? Consciously executing karma, that I am doing a yajna. Yes. Whereas in the case of the other, which is a transcendence, he is not looking at the ghee or what is the material being offered. His samarpana bhava and vairagya is present there, and ultimately the Brahman is attained by him, whereas the other attains a egoistic satisfaction of completion of yajna. Okay. That is called death, another is called the liberation. One is doing death of this material, another is liberating from that action. As I told you, every jiva who has taken birth in this world has to keep on executing karmas. There is no other way. He has to execute a karma. Even Lord is taken as reincarnation. He also executes karma, but of course he has an enormous capacity of identification of this karma as a nishkama karma. So when it is a nishkama karma, he identifies the karma as not karma, as just happening. As we have explained about it. It just happens. Like this, each and every person who is born in this world, he has to keep on executing the karma. The normal human who has not gone into the process and practice of identification of the self or identification of the Brahman, he keeps on executing karma. Then why karma yoga being explained here is because first it starts with execution of karmas. Even that person also attains a liberation at one point of time, but only thing it takes quite long time, that's all. Because By executing a karma repetitively, number of janmas, he gradually gains, knowledge out of it. Any karma what we do, constantly when we do it, at a point of time, we stop it. The Upanishads have earlier given beautiful example of each stage of the human being after Janma. As an infant or as a child, as an infant, he needs toys of different type which makes noise and colorful, moving above his head because he cannot play with it. He is happy with it. When he starts crawling and playing with the toys, he doesn't like that anymore. He will throw it when you give it to him. He will want some other toys. And after that, he gradually rejects that also. Vairagya comes to that. He comes to some other thing. Then in Kaumara, some other thing. Then in Vardhakya, some other thing. Then in Vanaprastha, something else. Sannyasa, something else. What happens? He, by execution of the karma, identifies that it is no more required. He overcomes that whatever is the knowledge that can be produced out of it has been learned. This is how the natural process of the karma yogi comes into the jnana. Then you can imagine it takes a lot of time. Whereas as far as the jnani is concerned, if he knows much before that, if he is matured, we always say, some people, he is too mature to his age, we say. What does it mean? Is there any calculation that he should be matured only to this extent at that age? Who determined it? Who? Who said that? You say, this child has to only play with these cars, toy cars. But if he starts doing something which an elder person does, he is too mature to his age. What is this? Who has determined this age and combination? There is no combination of age and the karma that is to be done. No. Nothing. Nobody has. It's all we created a sort of data because that is the general thing that is happening. Because every child of that age, he plays with such and such thing. So one is expecting the other child also should play with that. If he does something else, he says that he is matured to his age. He is more matured than his age. Age has no relationship. Same way, attaining Brahman, there is no age. 9-year-old Shankaracharya attained Brahmajnana. After 120 years of living also, some people did not attain Brahmajnana. How can you relate age with that? It is not possible. So, a transcendence. Through karma, one who is identifying karma as a karma. I have done this, I am happy with that. Why are you doing it? Because I find happiness in it. Everybody is something because they find happiness in it. One does good things, what we call as good things, for his happiness. One does bad things for his happiness. Everything according to his happiness. These are all the unconscious. They all lead to an unconscious withdrawal of it. The conscious transcendence is that who is aware of the Indriyas, Indriya Nigraham, Mana, functions of the Mana, and the Antakarana, and the Antaratma, and the Prana, and Atma, and Tattva, Sagni Tattva, Tapa, and Purusha. He gains the transcendence. He doesn't automatically withdraw just like that. Because what is that? What is the difference between automatic withdrawal and transcendence? When he transcends himself, his reincarnation is based on the transcendence that he has achieved in whichever position he has reached. Whereas in a case of automatic withdrawal, he continues that execution of karmas without he knowing it. Whereas the transcendence takes place with his knowledge, it happens. That's why last class I said, Vangvai Brahma. Vani. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana, everything is Vangvai Brahma. This identification has to be there, and then the transcendence takes place. That is why he has explained about the death to Shvetaketu, sage Uddalaka. Hey Uddalaka, this is how the automatic withdrawal takes place. This is how the transcendence takes place. So both, even though both are identified as withdrawal, both are identified as the end of the Jivatma, but the one who is a jnani, the one who is a tapasvi, he identifies himself as the Brahma Sakshatkari and will be reincarnated as a Brahma Sakshatkari. Even though the external appearance may be the same, you won't know by the external appearance. It's the internal function that happens. Then if you are in a position to have a jnana chakshu in you, then only you will be in a position to realize what is that. Externally, one can dress up like that, you see, is it not? One can beautifully dress up like that. Like we also, Vangvai Brahma, with Vani, we can speak any beautiful sentences, words to attract others and mislead them. You see, today's world they identified this as a capacity. It's an eligibility, capacity. He is able to influence people, salesman's talk and all that we say. His intention is only to sell his idea, whether it is right or wrong. Tattva Shastra, Jnanam, doesn't apply on that. They are facts. It is presented as facts. Whether one likes it or doesn't like it. That's the truth. One may interpret it as lie, fine. One may interpret it as wrong, fine, no problem. But then also only the truth is told. It is not to suit the convenience of the listener or the one who wants it, because truth is truth, whether it is liked by the listener or disliked by the listener. Truth is truth, it has got its own grade of knowledge, but the listener may be above or below, so he assesses it according to his own capabilities. So the one who is not able to assess it in the right sense, he will say it is superfluous or it is not right. The other says it is a great revelation of knowledge. Now, they are the two things. This requires, in future chapters, sage is explaining, it requires kadacham, it requires ashirvadam. Nobody can learn everything in this universe, can anyone? Any number of janmas. As somebody said, you need a person who constantly reading the shastras, that what we have in our stock, will take 10 janmas to complete. Just read. If you constantly, from day one of your birth till your death, if you keep on reading, no sleeping, no eating, no. If you do that, it will take 10 janmas approximately. Each janma is calculated according to Vedic science, it is 120 years. So 10 Janmas is 1200 years it will take to read. By the time you read the last one, you have forgotten the first one. Which one I have started is the case. So that is not possible. So sage is telling that there needs an ashirvadam. There needs a kadacha is necessary. How the kadacha has to be attained, I have explained you in the earlier chapters. How to purify yourself, how to upasana, nididhyasana through the process of submission. You are in a position to attain the kadacha, and through that you will be in a position to absorb it. Not understand it. The next chapter shows about it. What is called understanding, what is called absorbing. Next chapter will tell you. You have to absorb them. No, just not be aware of it. Just not knowing it. It is not a knowledge. It is not knowledge actually, because I don't know what is the other word to be used. It is jnanam, that's all. Jnanam is not knowing about something. Knowledge has an interpretation of knowing about something is knowledge. Jnanam, there is no verb in that, you see. Knowledge, there is a verb, knowing is there. Jnanam is a noun, it's not jnanam. Is it complete? That's all. There is no function on that. Jnanam is that. What is jnanam? To be that. That's why it is known as jnanam. Brahmam, jnanam, aham. See, everything ends with that. So that which is that is called jnanam. So jnanam is not acquiring. Why? Because there is no receiver, there is no giver. There is no vakta, there is no bhokta. That. So Bhagavan says, so we will come to that. Bhagavan says here, there is only automatic withdrawal, but there is no coming back. When you have outgrown a particular level of experience, you do not come back to it. In transcendence, you do not come back to the same karma, same status, same position. Whereas in automatic withdrawal, you come back to the same. Yes. Water is evaporated, becomes a cloud. Again rains, it becomes a water. It keeps on rotating in this, is it not? It's a karma happening continuously. It's not escaping anywhere from the cycle. So the one who is fixed in the cycle, he keeps on circulating in it. He is not. We have explained about Kala Chakra and the fulcrum rotating in the chakra, all those in the Upanishad. I think it is Ishavasya Upanishad, if I remember correct. So he says, so why I am explaining this previous chapter is that because I stopped the last chapter by explaining only the withdrawal, death. That's all. Why the sages explained to Shvetaketu is to make him understand that is called the withdrawal, and that is not what is required. It's the transcendence that is what is required. Conscious going back, that is what is required, where you don't have to come back again. You have finished it. When you go shopping, what you do? You finish with that shop, then you go to the next shop. Not that you will buy few things from that shop. Go to the next shop, buy few things. Again go back to the old shop. Oh, I forgot this thing. Again you buy that. Again come back. Again go back. No? This is what is happening, automatic withdrawal. Once you go there, you finish it, come back. You don't have to go back again there. It's what happens when transcendence takes place, when conscious withdrawal takes place, is it not? Otherwise you are repeating the same karma in every janma. You keep on talking the same subject every time. You don't overcome that because you have not completed that. So you require to complete the karmas. This completion of karma, as I have already explained, again reminding, because this reminder is necessary, you have to execute the karmas, identifying them as not karmas, nishkama karma, not karmas but just happening. Don't question. No? We always wonder, why should it be done? What is happening? If I do that, will that happen? No? These are all the problems. Why? Because we are conscious about the I and the future and the enjoyment, the I, the supposed I to take care of. So here he says, when you have outgrown a particular level of experience, you do not come back to that. But if you have been forced to wrench yourself from a particular experience, the desire for that experience still lingers and you will have to come back to complete your experience. Everything is experiencing. One experiences without having an attachment to it. I have already explained it earlier. And one comes back to the same experience with that attachment to experience it. For one, it is an experience. For the another one, it is to be experienced. Even though he has experienced, it is to be experienced. Yes. I have not yet completed, is what he says. So Bhagavan says here, when a person dies, he knows nothing because he enters the being of all being, though unconsciously. This being consciously realized in the supreme experience we call God realization or self-realization, and into which one is cast unconsciously at the time of death and sleep, is the ultimate reality. This is the essence, and this is the self of all. You are that, O Shvetaketu, Tvam Asi. But Shvetaketu is not satisfied, so he requests, hey Bhagavan, will you please explain it further with suitable examples. So he explains about an incident, how it is. A small story has been given here by Upanishad. Old days, when two people were brought to the king and told that one of them have stolen something from a jewelry shop. So the king was an intelligent king. So he asked them, do you want to confess? Naturally, initial stage, nobody wants to confess. So the one who has stolen immediately said that, no, I have not stolen. The other person kept quiet. So since there is a controversy, not able to decide, according to those days system, he said, bring that axe after putting it in fire, so that whoever is the culprit, according to, because there is it is believed that there is a divinity in the Raj Darbar. So whoever has stolen, if he touches this axe, he will burn his fingers. The one who has not, he will not burn. So you can immediately understand The one who has stolen immediately got panic and he said, no, I will tell you the truth, I don't want to touch the axe. But the other person did not say, because he had strong belief that it will not burn. You see, this is how we explained about the automatic withdrawal, the one who is not conscious and one who is conscious of the transcendence. Is one way of telling. Some other people have told another example is that it is like a coconut. See, when that coconut inside is attached with the shell, anything happens to the external shell also happens to the internal one. But when he undergoes a tapasya, the attachment happens because there is a bonding material. In human, the bonding material is the attachment, the affection, whatever you call it, and the ownership of it, the possessiveness of it. When it is not there, and during tapasya what happens? This agent of attachment is withdrawn from that, so the coconut inside becomes dry. It has no connection with the shell. Becomes like that. Even though externally it appears to be the same coconut appearance-wise, but one is attached, another is not attached. It's difficult to assess from the external appearance of one that whether he is attached or whether he is a detached soul. It's not possible unless you go into the shell and find out. Hey Shvetaketu, this is how it is what sage has explained, son. But still, he wants to know how to get this transcendence capacity. How to avoid this automatic withdrawal and gain the transcendence. So the next is that, so this chapter, 15th chapter, is concluded with that. Now we go to 6:16:1. In 6:16:1 is that example being given to Shvetaketu actually about the axe and coconut and all that. In 6:16:2 also explains about the repetition of that, sticking to the truth and all that. 6:16:3 also he is explaining that as in the case he was not burnt, similarly the man of knowledge does not return, but the ignorant one does. The self, by remaining steadfast in which, or by not being so, one gets release or bondage respectively. That which is the root of the universe, that which is the abode and the basis of all creatures, that which is the quintessence of all, that which is the birthless, immortal, fearless, auspicious, and non-dual, Tat Satyam, that is the truth, that is yourself, he said. But Shvetaketu, further asking for explanations, and goes to so I would like to conclude this section 6, because 7th is an important chapter again, going little more above. So when we are concluding this, he says, here some of them. I just read out his paragraph because he has expressed it nicely. I felt I don't have to interpret it. Here, what we have learned here in these chapters, where we have started from chapter 5 about this Dalaga and so here in 5 and 6 what we have learned. First, the stage starts by giving an explanation of the process of creation. From the Trivatkaranam, Agni, Prithvi, Jalad. How the object of universe is created from the Supreme Being, the Sat, by means of triplicated elements, let's say Trivatkaran. He then explains the inside the body, how it is related with the Prakriti, nature, and the pranas, and influenced tremendously by the activity of these three elements. How everything is that, we have explained, which is what, earth, thoughts, and everything has been explained. The universe inwardly and in the individual. Then he has told that being the goal of realization in all individuals of that being is present certainly in every particular manifestation. He has also said that it is invisible to the eyes because it is the subject of all knowledge and it is all pervasive principle. It is the subtlest essence and that it is the background of all existence and therefore the senses and the mind cannot perceive it. You remember I have told you that in order to understand this spirituality, we require Kadaksha, Ashirvadam. This is why I have told you. Why? He says here, therefore the senses and the mind cannot perceive it. When the senses and mind cannot perceive it, how a Jivatma in this living nature, how he can perceive the knowledge, how he can perceive the jnana, you understand? So the subject, that which is subtlest, that it is the all pervasive principle, cannot be understood by external appearance and external meanings of it. Do not look for the meanings of it. The Charvakas have always interpreted and discussed and discouraged or discussed about the negative points by thinking that why not it will happen like this. These are only perversions of the mind and incapacity of the perseverance of the person, the perseverance capacity of the person, because he tries to understand the subject through intelligence, as I always say, through intelligence, through mind and through the Indriyas. You will understand it if you use your intelligence, mind and Indriyas. You will understand it only through the medium of your experiences that you have already undergone. Yes. That which is the past. That means that whatever is happening in you is only the past. Anything that you are thinking is only based on the past. Your thought itself is oriented based on the past. You are never executing a karma as it is supposed to be executed. You are executing a karma only based on the experience that you already have. That means you are remaining always in the same cycle as the water gets evaporated, clouds and coming back. So it doesn't get absorbed in your system because you're trying to understand the supreme, the subtlest principle through your intelligence. That is why one doesn't like it. It's boring. One doesn't have an interest to it. See what is the meaning? I have no interest to listen to that. What is interest? What is interest? Interest is that the mind should get entertained by that. Is interest. That's called interest. Interest is that the mind should accept it. Should accept it in the sense, should get entertained, enjoy it. If the mind enjoys it, he says, I have the interest. In other terms, what is interest? Interest is not the Mulyadhanam. It is a labha out of investment of Muladhanam. Okay. So what you are deriving? You want to derive a labha out of it, interest out of it. It's not a Muladhanam, it's not a Mulyam. The Mula of you is knowledge. The Mula is Jnanam. I want to earn interest out of the Moolam of that what I have. It's called interest. So interest is only an external, temporary, vicious matter. According to time, it changes from material to material, it changes. That is why our interest keep changing. Is it the same interest that you have from the childhood? No. The interest keep changing, is it not? Depending upon the investment that you do. The interest keep changing. The Mooladhanam is the same. How you invest it is that what is required. Whether you invest it through mind and Indriyas or whether you invest it through the Atma or through the Jnanam. No? If you submit that through the Jnanam and the Atman, then what you derive is the truth. Otherwise, it's only an entertainment. It's why the senses cannot perceive it. The intelligence cannot perceive it. This requires Ashirvadam. For this you need the process of purification. That purification, that's why Bhagavan said in Bhagavad Gita also, Abhyaseti Kaunteya. Hey Kaunteya, Abhyasa. Abhyasa is not practice. Not our what understanding practice, like practice and exercise. Practice writing, your handwriting will improve. No? Or practice this, you will become an expert of that. As far as jnani is concerned, once a jnanam is there, there is no expert jnani and less expert jnani is not there, Is it not? Jnanam comes means jnanam comes, that's all. There's no expertise on that. So abhyasam is not trying to expertise on particular subject or particular action. Okay. Abhyasena Kaunteya, in the sense, make your mind understand. Abhyasa. Make your mind understand that the truth can be attained only through the jnanam, and the jnanam can come only through the surrender, submission, samarpanam, upasana and nididhyasana and cleanliness. In that pretext only that he also says that Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, Na bruyat satyam apriyam. Continues. I forgot the next line. But the meaning is that we know that. We have explained it. Na bruyat satyam apriyam. But okay. But never tell. But the next sentence is, never tell that what is not satyam. Don't tell satyam is okay. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Depending upon situation, priyam bruyat. Na bruyat satyam apriyam, which causes, apriyam means not liking or disliking. Don't translate the language like that. Priyam, apriyam. Priyam means priyam to the universe. That which is beneficial to the universe. That which is not beneficial to the universe. Na bruyat satyam apriyam. Don't sell if it is causing damages to something. That's not the right time. You want to tell the satyam, there is a time. Nachiketa asked Bhagavan Bhima, the Guru, Mahaguru, tell me the path of realization. He explained in so many ways, is it not? Is it necessary? Dhruva asked Narada, explaining how can I get mukti, moksha or liberation. Yama said about the principles that you have to follow. Narada said, you chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What is his principle there? His principle there, Vangvai Brahmaha. Vangvai Brahmaha. Namopasana. We will be coming to that also yet. It is Namopasana. And they are all initial stages. Through the Upasana of Nama, Nama gets diluted, Upasana remains. You see how beautiful it is. Principle, you know. What is the principle? Nama Upasana. You are doing an Upasana to the Nama. Guru Upasana. You are doing an Upasana to the Guru. Ultimately what happens? That Nama is vanished. Upasana remains. Guru is vanished. Upasana remains. In the sense. Upasana remains in the sense. The Upasana becomes Asana. What is Upasana is the next. That which was the next will become the first. Is called the Nama, disappearing the Nama. When Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Nama disappears, that who is Dhruva, he becomes that. When he becomes that, then only he could see Vishnu standing in presence of him. Same way, Namopasana. So this Upasana, the purity, through those purification processes only, you become eligible for the Ashirvada and Kadaksha. It is not to be asked. You will get it. You have to be ready for that. When an Asura does tapasya, he comes to his extreme of tapasya, Brahma or Vishnu or Maheshwara, he appears. No other way. What the Devata says, now there is no way. I tried my best to delay. There was wind, there was storm, there was hailstorm, there was ice, there was rain, flood, but still the Asura kept on doing tapasya. He was not bothered about any of the external disturbances. When the external disturbances are not disturbing him, and he becomes that whom he does the Upasana, the Dvandvata in him is removed and the Ekagrata, Ekatvam has remained in him. When the Ekatvam remained in him, how can Brahma be separate from him? How can Vishnu be separate from him? Is what is meaning of they have become the Pratyaksha, they have come down. Same way, In order to understand the Brahma Tattvam, the subtlest jnanam of the self and all will get diluted. These words get diluted after some time. There's no such words then. You should get into that subtlest form. This is what sage Uddhalaga is trying to make Shvetaketu understand. Don't be separate from that being. That's why it's called the yoga. Yes. It's why even the first chapter is known as Vishada Yoga. When he is separate from the object, he is subject and the object, there is Vishada. When Arjuna is separate, belonging to Pandavas, the others are Kauravas and supporters of Kauravas. So long that is there, there is Vishada. When this misunderstanding has been removed, let's go. It's called Vishada Yoga. When we have disturbances, when we have problems, we have problems. No? When we have problems, we have problems. In Vishada Yoga, you become the problem. You are not there, or the problem is not there. One of them have to vanish. Yoga. Yujyate iti yoga. When you, the aham, becomes the problem is eliminated. Because problem is imaginary. Problem is not the truth. The you is the truth. So, yogya. When you become yujyate with that, you see, there is a problem, suppose. Some problem, we say that there will be problem, is it not? Once you understand that, is there a problem? No. Once you say there will be problem, let it happen, will there be a problem then? There is no problem. When we do not accept it and identify it as a problem, then only the problem and I are remaining to fight each other throughout. The day one understands the other, now problem cannot understand you. No. The only way is that you have to understand the problem. Kauravas cannot understand Arjuna, only Arjunas have to understand the Kauravas. Because Bhagavan Krishna has already tried number of ways to make Kauravas understand. He did not understand. Now there is only way is that Arjuna has to understand the Kauravas. That which is adharma. So he, Arjuna, identify the adharma. He has only identified the individuals who has the adharma. So he always kept adharma is separate from Bhishma. Adharma is separate from Acharya. Adharma separate from Shukracharya, Dronacharya and okay, who are Karna and others. Rajguru is there, no? Kripacharya. All separate from, because once they, now what happens? Bhishma is the problem. Bhishma is adharma. Like Duryodhana is adharma. You know? Karna is adharma. When he found out that the individuals residing in the adharma is gone, only adharma has been identified. So knowledge, gaining knowledge is that to understand the adharma. How can he understand the adharma? Only by knowing, by having the knowledge. He identified the adharma as these individuals. Before knowing, he identified them as individuals. After the knowledge, which Bhagavan has inculcated in him, after that, he identified them as adharma. So he could fight with the adharma easily Vishada Yoga. So once you become Yujyate, yogi, that's what's called a yogi. When you have the capacity to have the yoga with the knowledge, then you will realize this is Brahman. This chapter I have explained in this Prashna Upanishad. How the great learned disciples, when they went to Rishi Pipalada and explained about them, about the Brahman, and Rishi explained about the Brahman, how the students from the beginning to the end, they transformed themselves, transcended themselves, into the Brahman through Rishi. Where did they see the Brahman? Initially they saw Rishi Pipalada when they started the learning. At the end of the 6th chapter, at the place where Rishi Pipalada is sitting, they saw the Brahman. You see what happened? When they started, they looked at the external of the Rishi. So the external appearance of Rishi is Pipalada. Through Rishi Pipalada, they transcended the Namopasana. What is that? Namopasana. Initially Namopasana. Through Rishi Pipalada, they transcended, identified Brahma Tattvam in the 6 chapters, in the 6 lessons. Maharishi explained to them. At the end of the 6th chapter explained, the disciples, having absorbed them through the Indriya Nigraham, through the Jnanam, perseverance, perceptive capacity in them, they perceived the knowledge and they transcended themselves as the knowledge, and sitting as knowledge, looking at Rishi Pipalada, they found only Jnanam, Brahman sitting there. That's all. So they have become, what is that? They have become that. It is the same appearance of Rishi Pipalada. Others looking from far, Rishi is sitting. You ask them, the students, they say, where is Rishi gone? We don't know. There is Brahman sitting there. Some sort of explanation like that. What is that? To be in that is what is the meaning of that here. He said, no, where did I say? Yes, because all pervasive principle perceive it. Ordinary knowledge, he has said, is inadequate here, and it can be known only through the grace and guidance of one's own Guru. And when a knower lives in the world with this body, as other people live in this body, we draw a distinction between the former's way of living, conducting himself, and the ordinary people's way of living. For all practical outward purposes, the liberated man and the bound man look alike. This is what I had been always say. The liberated man, the coconut, looks same from external. Look same, alike. One cannot know who is a Jeevanmukta and who is bound one. For both speak in the same way, eat the same way, live the same way. The distinction is within. It is that the liberated one knows what he is, whereas in other case, he does not know what he really is. So here is the distinction between the knowledge and ignorance, and here is also the explanation of the path to liberation as propounded by Sage Uttalaga through the Guru. You see, there is dependency there now. You cannot walk, so what do you say? Let us take a cab. Who has more capacity to reach you faster, is it not? But you have to pay a price. You have to submit yourself first of all. You cannot have free walking inside. You have to sit. There's a discipline. Don't open the door while they're driving. There are certain disciplines, that has to be followed. So if you follow that discipline, that which is going fast will reach you there. Is it not? That's all. Simple. Yeah. Is it not? Right? Now comes to chapter 7 of the Upanishad. In chapter 7, Bhagavan explains about the Bhuma vidya. Bhuma vidya is that Sanatkumara's instructions. The Sanakadis, Sanat, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanatkumar. Sanakadis are Brahmaputras, Jnanam, 4 Vedas. They have been identified as 4 Vedas, knowledge, Brahmaputras, Srishti, Karma, Kriya, Jnanam, everything. You see. So they are those, Rishis, great Rishis, everybody regards, respects them for their knowledge. So one day what happened? In the 7th chapter of this Upanishad, which is a very prominent one because it expounds what is he explaining? Magnificent doctrine of the Bhuma. What is the Bhuma? The absolute, the plenum of being, the fullness of reality, and this is done in a Socratic manner, gradually taking the mind of the student, Shishya, from the lowest reality conceivable to the highest, stage by stage, indicating thereby nothing is lost when the absolute is realized. This is what I always say, that Jnanam, when you have, you should know about everything. That's Jnanam. Otherwise, some portion of it remains unknown. Adi Shankaracharya did not know about the way of living in the Sansaric Jeevan. It was a drawback for him. He cannot be claimed as a jnani because he doesn't know about it. For a jnani, there should be nothing that which is not known to him. Is his principle. Yes. When it is that, the fullness of reality, it's called the Bhuma, is the absolute. To know that. When absolutely realized, there is nothing is unknown, nothing is lost, everything, bad and good, everything is known. He has the same capacity of everything. Bhagavan Shiv swallowed everybody. The Katha says, Puranas explains in detail about Bhagavan Shiv's halal visha is being taken to him, Mata holding on to a lot of stories. We also explained it here. Actually, what is that? Then we also told that in somewhere else in this Upanishad, I think. Who is that halal visha? What does Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita? In the maximum visha, which is Kalakuta or halala visha, it is known as both Kalakuta visha or halala visha. That visha is me. Aham. In Vani, is me. In visha, this is me. In Devatas, Indra is me. No, like this, he says everything. Who is Visha? Visha is himself. Why? The knowledgeable person is not only that he knows everything, he is everything. When he is everything, how this halala Visha, you understand what I mean, is taken by him or will given destruction to him. There are explanations for us to understand through the Puranas. Their studies, they are not wrong. It's a methodology of teaching in one way or other through that. Through the stories, so one understands it. So he swallows it. Who swallowed it? Bhagavan swallowed it. Who has the capacity to swallow Visha? And Shakti stopped it. Shakti is that Jeevatma. Stopped it. Why Jeevatma stopped it? Because, see, there is a division. This is Jnanam. This is not. This is Shakti. Where is Shiva? Here, even in yogas, in yogic asanas, Om, and this is Lord Shiva, Om. Here is Vishnu and Lakshmi. No? Mooladhara is Ganesha. The explanations are there. So what happens? Where is Visha? Visha is in the portion of the Jnanam, Purusha. The Purusha is the one who is capable of taking the poison because he is the one who created poison, or he is poison. Everything is he, is it not? So Jnanam is everything, knowledge is everything, Purusha is everything, Ishvara is everything. Below this is what? Sharira. Shakti. In Visha, Shakti gets affected. You understand what I'm saying? If you swallow it, what will happen? Suppose somebody swallows poison. What happens? Sharira goes away. Atma doesn't. So Shakti held it here. Why? Sharira should not go because Sharira is Shakti. Actually, whom did she save? Not the Shiva. You understood now the story? It should be like this, what should understand, you see. So, the Ishvara is everything. That subtlest has to be known. This is what is said. So, if we understand through the intelligence, we will only say that, oh, Bhagavan will die, that is why Mata held his neck and stopped the Visha there itself. We all know that by holding somebody's neck, we cannot stop what is being swallowed. You see, I mean, technically speaking, otherwise you have to squeeze so hard, so Visha is not necessary. Then Visha is not there itself. Actually, these are indications given. Purana is right, because that's how it has to be expressed to here, as he said, from the lower mind to the upper mind, higher mind, step by step it has to be taken. So, perception. So, this is called the Purusha and Prakriti. So, Prakriti will get destroyed. By Visha, nothing else. By Visha, Prakriti will get destroyed. So, in order to protect the Prakriti, the Purusha consumes the Visha, which is a part of him, which is totally aware of. When you are aware of it, you are not scared of it, is it not? When you are aware of it, you are not scared of it. When you know what is going to happen next moment, that's why we are all very anxious about knowing about the future. Show me what is written in my hand. Somebody comes in, show me what is written here. Can you read it? I said, yes, why not? I will read it. We are all worried about the future because we do not know about it. But don't you know, there is no, as according to the Shastras, as I told you, when we spoke about karmas, please remember this. We are keeping on completing the prarabdha karma. Alright? In the Janma, whatever we are executing, we are keeping on completing the prarabdha karma. We are not completing the sancheta karma. Are you now? We all say that we are in present. We are listening to you. We are listening Upanishad. While listening, you are always connecting this listening to your past. Actually, you are not living in the sancheta. You are always living in the prarabdha karma. So we are all executing our karmas based on completion of prarabdha karma, not sancheta karma. Please understand the technicality of it clearly. If I finish the sancheta karma, prarabdha is automatically completed. Right or no? That what is coming to sancheta is prarabdha. So that is what I am completing. But if I complete the sancheta karma, the prarabdha is automatically completed. Then the agami karma, we don't have to think about it. So in order to complete the sancheta karma is to be conscious. That's why indriya nigraha has to be done, because attachment, attraction towards the experiences in past, that means enjoyment of the result. That means again bhoktutva bodham. I am the enjoyer of that. No, it's very difficult to leave that enjoyment of that what you have achieved. All these years I have earned this. How can I leave it? Either you have to willingly leave it, or you have to unwillingly leave it. The leaving will have to be done. Whether it is attachment, whether it is affection, whether it is wealth, whether it is fame, whether it is this, whether it is that, anything for that matter. So what happens? This realization will make you capable of fulfilling the sancheta karmas, or exhaust the sancheta karmas, by which that prarabdha karma is also exhausted. For this, it's not easy to be present. We always connect with our experiences because we are trained like that. We have trained our mind only to execute our experiences from the past, from the experiences. If that is what you can achieve the liberation, the question of your rebirth is not at all there. If it is your past experience through which, when you can execute your karma, you can fulfill everything and get liberation, then why a rebirth? Why all this exercise is necessary? Because it is not possible. Why? Because you are only executing karmas based on the experiences that you have achieved, which may be correct, which may not be correct. Because it is not correct, then only we have got the rebirth. So we have to confirm there are unfinished karmas. So these unfinished karmas which is propped up, where in sancheta we are completing that. That means we are staying in the past and completing it. Or we are remembering the past and completing it. So the sancheta is put back. In order to be in the sancheta and completing that karma, the consciousness is required. For having the consciousness, the jnanam is required. For jnanam, kadacha, ashirvada is required. For that, upasana, nididhyasana, samarpana bhava is necessary. Samarpanam is not there, so we will always be connected with our earnings, that is the past. When I do the samarpana, I do samarpana of the past. That's all. When you do samarpana, samarpana is the present. The experiences that which created the ego in you, ahankara in you, is the past. So that what you are doing, samarpana is what? Is your past. What is your ahankara? Is your past. If the past is not there, ahankara will not be there. Who makes it ahankari? The past experiences make you ahankari. How do you assess your capabilities? I have done that, I can do that also. Not that I can do that. You derive that I can do it having experienced that I have done it. So the I can do it is not an independent activity, is connected with because I have done it. So it will not be a karma that you are doing. This is a karma which you have already done, because it's based on the experiences that you already have. So what we have to do? In sancheta karma, when you execute a karma, now you can imagine. Let's for a moment imagine there is no past, there is no future. What we call it as past and future. The time, that's the kala. The kala is not there, static. When it is not there, when I am doing something, will we have an attachment to that karma? Because neither I am using the experience, nor I am there is no future also. The kala is not there. So what you have to do? You have to atijivita of the kala. What is necessary? Kala has to be forbidden. This Kala is so, past is created by Kala. Kala is created by your perception, just an imaginary idea. If that is gone, it's gone, that's all. So what happens? A person who does like that, he will know how much I have travelled, how much I will have to travel, will come in the same board. Otherwise what happens? Only one board will show how much I have travelled. Another board will show how much I have to travel. They are never synchronized together. When I become a jnani, this is the distance travelled, this is the distance to be travelled, this is the total distance to be executed by you. Everything, mathematics is complete. So he says that ignorance will be removed only by that Guru who will make you, give you the Ashirvada Kadacha, through which you should become eligible for that. Samarpana. When you do Samarpana in the present, the past, future, everything is in that. The Trikala Darshanam we called it, Trikala we called it. Trikala is a bifurcation of the Kala into 3 different times. This time we have created past, present and future. Kala is only one. Kala is only one. That Kala has to be identified and recognized as one. The day you understand it, problem execution is done. Bhagavan Krishna, when he reincarnated as Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata, even though he has taken the birth as Krishna, he was neither functioning in the past nor in the future. For him, the Kala is one. He knows the past, he knows the future. He is telling Arjuna, you fight. I know what is going to happen. He did all his actions only to make us understand and also to create an impression to those people that Adharma is giving a chance to surrender, samarpana, exhaust it. But to Arjuna he said, I know what it is. I am Kauravas, I am Pandavas, I am this. Forget about all that. I have no Kala. He, without thinking twice, he said, I will not take any weapon in the Yuddha Bhumi. Who will tell this? I will not take any weapon because he is supposed to be fighting there. Okay. Now he said in Bhuma Vidya, so he said, when God is attained, nothing of the world is lost, just when each in the original. We cannot be said that to have lost. Everything is gained in supersensible manner. The shadow may be said to be a part of the original. It is included in the original. All the lesser degrees of reality are only forms of its manifestation. Every name, form in this creation is lesser degree of manifestations of reality. The lower degree is not excluded from the higher degree, as the higher degree includes the lower, and the highest is everything and is all inclusive. This is the subject of this chapter, which begins with the great sage Narada approaching the master Sanatkumara for spiritual instructions and spiritual solace. That's why I read this. The chapter shows sage Narada going to Sanatkumara seeking spiritual knowledge on a particular item. Narada was learned. We all know that. There is nothing that Narada did not know. He could travel all over the world, everywhere. he has approach to any devata. That means internally he is with Vishnu, he is with Shiva, he is with Brahma, he is with Srishti, Samhara, Sthiti. Everywhere he is there. A man of that nature and man of that stature, he says, "Hey Sanatkumara, please help me." It's wonderful. Is it not worth to know? What is his problem? Simple. We have the same problem. You may consider yourself as Narada sometimes. Sorry. He comes to, as a disciple to son of Brahma, Sanatkumara. He pleads his ignorance and expresses his grief over the fact that he knows so many things but does not have peace of mind in spite of all this knowledge. Strange, huh? There's something missing, he says, in spite of every kind of learning of which is a master and in which he has specialized. Great Reverend Guru, please accept me as your humble student. The way they express it all is beautiful. In Sanskrit it is much more nice. This is how Narada, a master, a sage himself, approaches the divine teacher Sanatkumara. In section 1, he tells, now it's wonderful. Who is going to whom? It's wonderful. Now, two great, mountains of knowledge, Himalayas of knowledge meeting together. How they discuss? Very simple. It's not that high as we think, no? Very simple they discuss. Why? Because they know everything. So they will discuss only simple. He says, "Hey Bhagavan, divine, great sage, here I am at your feet." Section 1 now he says, Om, I just wanted to chant for myself, no, I like it. Om Adihi Bhagava iti He Basasada Sanatkumaram Naradattam Hevacha Yetyethat Tena Mo Pasida Tatastha Urdhvam Vachyami iti Sa Hevacha is what in the second. So he says, please accept me. Next he says, Rigvedam Bhagavo Dhyemi Yajurvedam Samavedam Arthavarnam Chaturthamihasa Puranam Panchamam Vedanam Vedam Pityam Garshim Daivam Nidhim Vako Vakya Meka Venam Deva Vidyam Brahma Vidyam Bhuta Vidyam Kshatra Vidyam Nakshatra Vidyam Sarpa Deva Jana Vidya Etat Bhagavo Adhyemi. I know all this. He asked, what do you know now? Here, the question is here, what happens is that, hey, Adhihi Bhagava, is that what I wanted to do?